In KZN, the flooding there has caused significant damage to infrastructure. It's left water and electricity supply disrupted in some areas. So how will stage 2 power cuts, which are in force until Wednesday morning, affect the province? eNCA reporter Nqobile Madlala is on the ground and she joins us now live to tell us more. Nqobile, I see the damage that has been caused there behind you, and I can imagine what people go through knowing that there's load shedding. I mean, last week, Monday, when this started, people were looking for each other and couldn't find each other because of no lights in the first place as well.
Yes, Maseko, that was the case for many people. So you can just imagine the kind of impacts this has had in their lives. But what you see behind me is that still the damage that had come with the floods. And of course, I'm joined here by some of the members of Verulam community at this point. So I want to bring in some of the leaders to sort of give us an extent in terms of how these floods have impacted them, especially because, ma'am, we're looking at possible load shedding in KZN.
Yes, I must say that, let me introduce myself first. I'm from this area, Gannett Crescent area. I've gathered people from around Verulam area, as you mentioned, who will be able to speak as well. We have experienced extensive damage, as you can see. I'm sure you're going to take a walk along the road. We faced with no water, no electricity for days around our surrounding areas as well, which is impacting us on a negative basis.
Let's talk about how this what kind of impact this has had if you don't have lights and you don't have water.
It has serious implications. Of course, I don't know how a human is supposed to survive without lights and water. I know my dad is one of them who lives in Trenton's Park, so I am faced with the issues where I need to supply them with meals on a daily basis. And water, well, that's a sore issue across every area in Verulam. Without water, it's very difficult.
All right. And what sort of things you live normally, sir, when you don't have water and light?
Well, I'm also going to speak as a school principal. Parents are struggling to send their children to school also because of the conditions that we have, uniforms. Some schools have to be mindful that children are going to be coming to school in. This is something that we need to take into account. I would want to reflect on some of the things that has happened here in the past also. In 1987, there was a huge disaster in this area where the flats were directly opposite where we're sitting now, collapsed as a result of huge volumes of water coming down and knocking down the flats and covering people. And in 1990, and I believe, in my opinion, is the worst case scenario. Fortunately, in this area, we have not had much loss of lives. Yes, we had people that lives were threatened. We had to vacate out of the house. This road, as you can see, was completely covered. We were boxed in. We had to get a bobcat. Fortunately, my son had somebody who lent us a bobcat. And for the first time, he drove a bobcat and was under pressure to get us some type of assistance. As you see in front of us, there's a tanker supplying us with drinking water. As Fazana explained, if this is going to continue, no water, no lights, we're not going to even have food to survive on because all our freezer stuff is going bad. Okay? Some of my greatest concern is we vote for our councillors. Yes, they have been inundated, but we have not yet had a visit from any of our councillors, which is sad. And besides that, this area, I personally feel, requires a lot of work to be done on drainage system. One of the major impacts here, I find that whenever it rains, all the mud goes into the manholes and the moorings. If you look at the corner of Gannett Crescent, all the litter or the bins are being put there. What happens is that they pick up the dirt that is in the bins that are not torn either by the dog or the people that are walking around scavenging into those bins. Okay, and these wash into the manholes and block the manholes. That was the greatest problem, and that is why there was no free flow of water in this area. Okay, the other thing that I want to also mention is this area has been having a serious sewer issue for months on end, and up to date is nothing has been done about it. And it's a serious impact, especially to us here low-lying people, because we get the direct smell of it. We've got little children here, and you can see my condition at the moment. I'm semi-disabled, and these are threats to our life. Now, these are times that we should be visibly seeing people. But I also want to say at the same time, we have good Samaritans. Look at this vehicle here. I don't know who owns this vehicle, NJ26550. thank you, my brother. He's brought drinking water for us. Now, how long can we continue like this?
What would you like to see happen, sir?
I would like to see, firstly, where is the government's disaster management plan? I've traveled widely and extensively, and I've seen this in other countries. The moment I was in one of the countries overseas, I forget, I think it was Malaysia, and we got caught in a cyclone. Within minutes, the disaster management team was there to escort people, to shelter people, but I've not seen this here. I have not seen this here. So our government to seriously come through with disaster management plan for each town, each municipality, and put in place disaster management in terms of evacuation. If you want to look at the raw sewage now. Look at it, right? So these are some of the things. People need, I think responsibility as leaders in the community, civic structures, together with the councillors, to make this place a better place. If not, we're going to be going down into the doldrums. Imagine boiling water on fires and things like that. We're going back to the dark ages. Yes, we speak about technology, we speak about advancement, and nothing is being done about all these things. It's just, talk and talk. Okay.
All right. I want to bring in you, sir. You said you are a pastor, obviously, in the area. And I can imagine that at this time you also have to think about what is currently happening in terms of religion. This is supposed to be the holy weekend for Christian people. But also this is the time when people are fasting. How's this affecting you immediately? And in terms of religion, how's this affecting people?
I don't think it's only affected me, but as the whole community, as there's no electricity and water from 8 days. Now, 8 days is how will people bath? Whatever they have in their fridge, freezers, like generally the Muslim people prepare for the month. They keep in the freezer whatever they need to eat. All that is gone off. They don't even have water to cook. And, sadly, no tankers have come in our area for the past 8 days. And luckily we have people like private organizations that come through and have been delivering as they have delivered in the past. And it has always been like this, with the private organization and people that get together and assist the community. And we find this time and over again where government is not to be found anywhere to assist the people. And it's not the first time. I think COVID came, we saw what happened. The government wasn't there for us. Looting came in July last year. Nobody was there for us. It was always the private organization. Again, here we see the KZN Floods is always private people that's coming, donating the water, organization, taking it, going and giving it to wherever they can give it. And that's how people are surviving. And 8 days without lights and water, you can imagine who can survive like that, 8 days without lights and water.
And let's talk about the fact that load shedding also, we might be seeing load shedding coming in as well. How does that make you feel?
Load shedding it's a bit of an issue for everybody. Like currently also, for people to visit and they go to masjid to read the Salatul Taraweeh. If they can have wudu to go for Salatul Taraweeh, or they cannot have a bath. Even when they come to a masjid, we have to make alternate arrangement with lighting, generators and stuff. And we find that times are really tough for everybody. Like businesses didn't recover from the looting. Now we see the KZN Floods, and I think businesses won't recover. So it'll affect everybody at large. People will lose their jobs, people won't have, and they'll be looking for ways to survive. That's
Thank you, sir. Well, then that's some sentiments coming in from some of the residents in Verulam. What you're seeing here, of course, them gathered here, they're just talking about the fact that the water, and there's no water and lights, and as well as the fact that they've had to deal with some of the damages that have been caused by flooding. They're worried about, of course, employment as well, and they're worried about some of the families that have been displaced at this point that they've had to take out. What you're seeing there, of course, is one of the houses that is also badly damaged. They're saying that there hasn't been any injury. This is, of course, lucky for this place, because a lot of people have lost lives in KwaZulu-Natal, and they're just saying that they're grateful that there hasn't been any injuries, but people's lives have been threatened, and now they're just talking about the fact that they feel that the government is not there for them at this point, and instead they are seeing private people who are privately giving them water, who are privately doing things for the community, and they would really just like to see the presence of the government also coming in to help them, touching on facts that there is a drainage issue in this area. They're talking about the fact that this is the third time this has happened, and of course it has been worse hit this time round, but they're just saying that there needs to be a lot that needs to be looked into, especially when it comes to services that are provided by the government in the area.
All right, Nqobile Madlala, let's leave it there for now.